I'm going to show you how to render a wireframe and a regular renders and how to composite in Photoshop, something like this. So the first thing here, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up my, and here you can see the scene that I set up already with the camera downloaded, and I have an HDRI image in it. And I will show you how to set up from beginning to the end. So the first thing here, what I want to do is hit a new scene. New scene, don't save. And then first thing here I want to do now is set up a project folder where I save my renders in it. So I'll go here and select project window. And you can see I have one previous made called new camera. So I'm going to hit new, and I'm going to call this camera 2, and then hit accept. Doing that, and the next thing here what you want to do is definitely want to save the scene. So I'm going to save scene, save as, and I call it camera. Next thing, I want to import the camera into my scene. So I'll go to File, Import, and it's on my desktop, and it will be in here. I got this from Sketchfab, this camera. So Sketchfab, and I choose Camera, Canon at 1 here, FBX, and hit Import. And next in here, I want to put the textures onto the camera. So I'm going to select all my camera. I'm going to right click. I went down, actually you can't see it now. I went down here to the bottom at Assign New Material. And then here on New Sign Up Material, I want to go to Arnold. And I'm going to choose AI Standard Surface. So right in here, I want to choose Color and click the checkerboard. I'm going to go into, where are you? 5. Here, 5 right here. From right here, I could choose the folder. Click the folder here, and I'll put this on my desktop in Sketchfab. And I have option here 2K or 4K image, but for this time, I choose 2K. And I would choose the color right here. Here you can see the color of the image. So I hit Open, and then I hit 6 on my keyboard. 4, you can see it has a texture on it right now. And if I want to, I could add, just for fun, I'm just going to add a normal map to it. So I'll go down here to Geometry, under my mapping, I'm going to choose the checkerboard, and do the same thing here. Hit File. And then from here is used as bump. I'm going to change that as tangent space normals. And then from here, I'm going to check this little arrow key. And right here, I will choose my normal map. And I go to desktop and choose to the Sketchfab. Go to 2K and choose my normals right here. As you can see, my normal map. And then the normal map, what I'm going to do here is, since the color space is set to default as sRGBIF, and you know normal map you cannot have that. You have to use utility and hit raw. You don't see it raw on the side here, but I can hit raw right here now. Then you can see raw. And another thing you can do here is right now it is set to a filter to quadratic. I can actually change this and hit off, and look what's going to happen to these details right here. See, they get a little more sharper doing that. So that's an option you can do. And then one more thing here I need to do for a normal map is I'm going to go down to my color balance and make sure my alpha is luminous. Set that. Alright, I could set up my my roughness map, my ambient occlusion maps, but I'm just going to keep this very simple. So the next thing here, I'm going to add a light dome here, a sky light dome, and this is where I add my HDRI image. So I'm going to select that, and then I go up here And under color, I'll hit the checkerboard. In the checkerboard, I would choose file. And I had downloaded this image. It's actually an indoor HDR file, which I got. Go into desktop, sketchpad, and it's basically like here. It's like it's studio lighting. So I hit open, and you can see now my lights in the scene here. Doing that. So I can actually test render if I want to right now. So before I render, you want to set up a camera, and that's going to be kind of like your tripod on the camera. So I want to hit here, go to create camera, and hit camera. I'm going to look through the camera, and I'm going to turn on my resolution gate, kind of frame it, something like that. I'm thinking maybe like that. Let's see how that looks like. And now I go to Arnold and just kind of test render. It's looking pretty good. A little small here, you can see it here. It rendered pretty fast here. So right now you can see here it took me 8 seconds to render at 960 by 540. And I could, I'm going to change to 1080 by 1920. So I'm going to close it out. I do that. I change that when I do all my setting and my render settings. But what I also want to do here, I want to turn off the background render here. So I'm going to scroll down here to visibility. Make sure you choose the sky dome. And all you have to do here is take this camera and roll that all the way down to 0. And now if I render, it's going to render, but now I get the clear background. So the final thing here I need to do now is set up my AOV for the wireframe. So I'm going to close this down. And I'm going to open up my rendering setting right here. So you can go in here, click a clapperboard with the little gear on it. And I'm going to go to my AOVs. And then in here, AOVs, these are all the common ones. You can set up diffuse, specular, indirect, and transmission, crypto, and so on. But I want to create my own custom one. I actually can render any shader that comes with, or any shader that you have installed onto Maya. So if I go in here, just for fun here, go in here and you go down to Arnold here, I can actually render iAttune, I can render ambient occlusion, and so on, and I actually can later on composite into Photoshop doing that. So to do this, what you want to do now is close this down, click this, add a custom, and then in the custom here I'm going to name it Wireframe and hit create. And as soon as you hit create, on the menu on the right side here, if you scroll down here, and here it says custom AOV, and you can choose any of these shader that comes with whatever's installed on Maya. So I want to choose my checkerboard, scroll up here, go down to Arnold and shaders, and choose my AI wireframe right here. And now, if I render now, and now of course it's going to render the beauty map first, but if I click on beauty map, I have a wireframe option here now. So now you can see that it rendered with a wireframe as well. So what I could do here now, I can decide, I can customize how I see how I want my wireframe to look like. So here in the edge type, I can choose polygons. That looks kind of cool. And I can increase the size of the lines if I wanted to do that, or I can decrease and make it really tiny if you be able to see it. But I want to do something like this. And of course, you can always change the color of the line if you wanted to. If you want to make it red, you get red. Or if you wanted to blue, yeah, I want to do blue. I think that looks kind of cool. All right, did that. So I got that done. So the next thing here, what I need to do now is I want to set up the render here now. So you go to your comment tab right now, and right in here it says file name prefix. I'm going to hit a name here, and this is called tokens. So I'm just going to call this render camera. Oops, it's not typing in here. I'll type in render camera underscore, and then I'm going to hit right click in here since we are rendering in render passes or render types. So if I hit here render pass, the name of the file would be wireframe. Whatever my pass I'm doing will take that name. So I'm going to choose render pass, and then right here also my image format, I'm going to change this to TIFF, and I'm going to change this to 16 float. I could do 32-bit, but in Open Up Photoshop, what's going to happen is some of the adjustments layers will be grayed out, and it will force me to flatten my layers. So I'm just going to choose 16 here. And the next thing in here, what I also want to make sure is that I check this, use view transform. What that does here is going to set up the gamma setting, and whatever I render here now will get the same type of tonal and exposure in Photoshop or when you save it. But if I choose the other ones, it's going to save it as a darker image, and what it means that is that I have to change that or edit that using a level as one of my adjustment layers. So add a 1.2 or 2.2 to get the proper tonal or the exposure. So I'm going to choose this right here, and then if I want to, I could also make sure you change this to the camera you're rendering in. And then I am going to render it in a larger size. I'm going to do HD 1080. And everything is set up fine here. And if you want to, you can set up the quality, get a better quality image if you want to, but I'm just doing this for a demonstration. So I always double check here. So I'll scroll up here. I'm doing TIFF camera underscore. It looks fine. I render a single frame. Make sure camera 1 is set and 1080. I go to AOVs. I'm rendering my own custom here, wireframe. And also you probably want to check this as RGBA. Doing that since the wireframe is not a true alpha channel, it will render as a with white in the background. But everything seems fine, so I'm just going to close this out. I go to my render menu and go to render. Something here to take note here. If you are using the education version or a version that you haven't properly installed Arnold, and if you hit batch render, you might get a watermark. But if you choose render sequence here and render that will not give you a watermark on the image. It will take a little bit longer to render, but that's fine. You can wait. It's like watching paint dry. So I'm going to choose this render sequence and go to the option box here. You want to make sure that you are rendering with the camera 1. You can see right here, and also you'll make sure where it's rendering to. So right now it doesn't know, so I'm going to hit the spot. When I hit this box here, it's going to open up and save it inside the image folder that we created. And you can see here, desktop, new camera, camera 2, in images, and just hit select. And then what I like to do here is I'm just going to hit this render sequence close. When I click this, a frame is going to pop up here. And when it's done, it's going to close. So I know it's done. So I'm going to click this. I'm sorry about that. It's onto the side here. You can see here is rendering here. Right now it has 1%. I'm not going to count each number here, but here we go. Just watch this. Okay, it's done. Sorry about that, was off the screen here. I didn't mean to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into Photoshop here. And I'm going to close this down. I could just save this for fun here. Save it to on my computer. And call it, oops. camera. Very original name. Alright, so to get this working here, what I want to do here is I want to go into scripts and I'm going to load files into stack. You could just open up each file and then just copy it and paste it into a layer. So I'm going to hit load files into stack and I'm going to choose browse and go to my desktop and find my camera 2 images, and here you can see my 2 renders I did, my beauty pass and my wireframe. You can see here render camera underscore beauty underscore wireframe. That's my custom name. Choose those, hit OK, and hit OK. Okay. So what I'm going to do now here, I'm going to bring this to the bottom. And here, what I'm going to do also, I'm going to turn this off here. I'm going to select my layer here, and basically I'm going to hold down Control. And what this does now, it does emerging ends around my camera. Why am I doing this? Is because I want to mask this out. The top here, I want to mask this out. So when I paint in, it will not paint in the white around the edges. So I would go in here, select this camera, and then hit the mask right here. And now you can see it, cut out the camera, but I am only seeing the wireframe. So the way how we do this, select this, hit Control I for inverse. And now we see the camera, but we don't see the wireframe. So what I want to do now here is, while this mask is selected, I'm going to go into choose my brush, and I'm going to choose here, bring this up. Let's see, hitting practice keys here. Here we go. And make sure my Y is selected, and I can start painting in. And also I could do just do this over here. Let's do a linear dodge. You can actually see the letters through it here. So now, oops, sorry about that. I did this up here. I meant to do this here. There we go. There we go. Now make sure your marches ants on here. So now you can see that I am painting in my wireframe here. Okay. And then of course, you hit X, you can reverse it. Doing that. For me, I like to turn down my opacity and flow, and I can kind of paint in what I want. Do that. So okay, so that is how you paint in wireframe on top of a camera, and how to render wireframe. Thank you for your time, and take care. Bye bye.